Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name is Brandon. I'm a lifetime Seminole fan.
And I am Chris, and I'm a pleased Gator fan.
We are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. Today, Chris, we're going to let you go and get started as you always do with the Florida Gators beating Vanderbilt, and then I'll give you some thoughts on the Florida State Clemson game that did not happen and the week that's ensued ever since, and then we'll whip around the state. So go ahead. How did the Gators fare, in your opinion, in the 38-17 victory?
Yeah, I mean, the Gators, we said this last week that you knew that a game like this was going to happen where they come out flat. They just don't bring their A game. And I know a lot of Gator fans are very upset, disappointed, and not happy with the performance. But I'm thinking, if you factor in everything, if you tell me that we're going to win on the road in the SEC by 21, by 3 touchdowns, and hold the opponent to 17 points, I'm taking that. Yes, it is Vanderbilt. That's probably why people are upset. But I'm happy. Like I always say 20 points. You hold them to 20 points or less, we'll be fine. But I get it. I get it kind of, because that first half, we looked just like we were sleepwalking through the game, and Vanderbilt brought it. But if you watched Florida Vandy over the years, this is normal. Anytime it is a noon game in Vanderbilt, we are guaranteed to just come out flat.
How about that?
If it's a night game at Vanderbilt, we'll be fine. But if it's a noon game at Vanderbilt, for some reason, I mean, you look at the stadium, pre-COVID, the stadium is always empty. So it's even worse this year. And then you have a little deal where, because of COVID, they don't really go into the locker room. They don't get onto the field until like an hour before the game. There's a 11 a.m. local time kickoff. I mean, we kind of saw this coming. Like, there's a bunch of factors against us. Of course we're going to come in flat. You've had games where, week straight, you go Missouri. That's a game where you want to prove that that A&M loss was a fluke. You got Georgia. You can get up for Georgia because it's Georgia. Then you have, Arkansas. You're going to get up because Felipe Franks. What's the real reason to get up for this game, right? Like, the next few games, Kentucky, revenge factor, Tennessee, LSU, Bama, right? So, I mean, I'm not surprised that we came out flat. And despite coming out flat, on defense especially, and offense at some points, despite that, we still put up 38 points. We won by 3 touchdowns. I mean, I think, Trask puts up pretty good numbers. All in all, I'm okay. I'm a pleased Gator fan.
Yeah.
Do we have stuff to work on? Absolutely. But overall, I'm okay.
You just made an interesting observation I never thought about, and that is that you guys have to cross a time zone to play in your conference sometimes, and the ACC doesn't do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's the overall perception of this game is that Florida didn't dominate, and in reality, despite a late turnover, they really did.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we'll start with the offense. I mean, Trask put up numbers again. The running game was good again. We didn't have Pitts, but Trask is still finding other receivers. He didn't get 4 touchdowns. Oh no. But you think, if you're a Gator fan older than 3 years old, you should be happy with this. You should be really happy with this performance, where your quarterback throws over 300 yards, almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, I'm pleased. And, the defense, there are times where they struggle, but there are times when they came up big. Some of the younger guys definitely came up big. The things that people are upset about look like the defense, either they're missing assignments or jumping off sides or not tackling well. That it was all there, but I'm not too upset. Now, if this continues, that performance happens next week, and the week after that, I'm going to be worried. But I think if Florida fans are seeing games in 2 lenses, this game and then really how is this going to apply to the Alabama game. We're looking down the season already, and I get it, because nothing matters except that Alabama game. But we compare everything in this lens where like how is it going to stack up in Atlanta,
Yeah.
So there are some frustrations, and I get that, but I'm not too big picture. You step back, I'm okay. I'm okay with this performance. If we walk into Vanderbilt and bring our C- game and come out with a 3 touchdown victory, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm not worried. I'm not panicking.
Yeah, and one other factor you didn't mention is Dan was trying to actually create some social distance and not use the facilities, so
Right.
they didn't even send the whole team into the locker room at halftime, or
Yeah.
not
Right.
at all. I mean, just some weird things about this game that, yeah, it just didn't feel like a real SEC matchup for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it
Mm-hmm.
worked.
Yeah. It was fine. But some bright spots. Obviously Trask there. No Pitts, but Keemore Gamble, another tight end with plug and play. Gets 2 touchdowns. Emory Jones, when he came in, looked pretty good. Damian Pierce looks like a guy who um, is a hard runner, a hard tackle. So I'm okay. I'm okay with this game. I will say that one of my favorite plays, um, is all this negative stuff going on. Trask is still a really good quarterback. I forget this. It gets lost in the weeds of this game. Trask is really good. And the one play to Grimes, he put that ball again where only his receiver can get it. Grimes, to his credit, jumped up and made a play. I saw a play where Trask lofted it up to Tony. Like I think Vandy was playing zone, and he threw it to where there was a spot open in the zone before Tony even got there. He kind of rainbowed it, and Tony ran underneath it and caught it. I thought that was a great play by Trask. You see some his pocket awareness. Is that a word? I don't know.
Awareness, yeah.
Awareness. He's not the greatest runner, but he's mobile inside the pocket. He can step up, shift left to right. He can spin move now. I think that's a new thing that I saw with him. So great stuff there. On the defense, you do get an interception by Elam and to seal the game, but then you got plays like Marco Wilson. It's a jump ball. This guy has played so long, he gets out jumped by the guy. There's just so many plays where you're like, oh, you're so close. You're frustrating sometimes. So you'd like to see that better. I mean, Elam, he had that pick, but he also a guy got a touchdown where he let him run by him, and the guy caught the ball over Elam, and Elam got ran over once by running back on a wheel route. So there's things like it's kind of disappointing, yet I'm not panicking too much. If we do this performance again next week, then I'll panic. But I'll take it. I'll take a 3 touchdown victory on the road any day.
I like it. I think that's probably the right reaction to this game.
Yeah.
The fact there was no fight is another good one.
Yeah, true.
But another positive to your point is 173 rushing yards. That might be season high for the Gators. And Emory Jones was perfect, 1 of 1 for 1 touchdown.
Right.
Yeah. But he had 4 rushes as well.
Right.
The Tony turnover is very rare, and I think this is the game. If you're going to have one, just do it against Vandy. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. And I'm okay. So I think they're really the first quarter and in their late touchdown, it was a bad one. I mean, 2 seasoned veteran safeties can't make a tackle. And so that looked really awful. And in the first quarter, guys being running on the field late, jumping off sides, out of position, missing tackles, that's frustrating. But really, after that first quarter, which they looked like they were going to score, upwards to 50 on us, they scored a touchdown on one play.
Yeah.
So it was ugly, but I'll take it. I'll take it any day.
Not much else to add. They didn't even crack 100 on the ground. And they tried, and I mean, to Vandy's credit, despite their record, the team's still playing hard.
Right. Yeah.
That much.
Yeah, you saw it throughout the year. They're getting a little bit better, and they gave Kentucky all they can handle. So I kind of saw this as a potential to happen, but hey, when you win by 21, there was games few years ago we weren't scoring anywhere near 21, and now we're winning by 21. There was a game against Vandy not too long ago where we won 9-7. I think that was in the swamp. So this is okay. It's okay, but I know again we're spoiled. Dan Mullen is spoiling us. But if you just go back a couple of years, this game does not happen. This just does not happen. So I'll take it.
Cool. That was the man of my analysis, and I think you did a great job.
Yeah.
Danke. All right. COVID this season, Chris, has turned a lot of things around and has made a lot of things happen. But to my knowledge, this weekend was the only time that a team actually traveled to a city and didn't play a game.
Right.
We've seen some called off day or two before, moved around, postponed. But Clemson travels to Tallahassee and leaves without a win. I'll just say it that way. How about that?
Okay. A good spin on it.
Yep. Dabo just can't seem to let this go. This entire week, I mean, by the way, I get the frustration. And by the letter of the law and protocols, I don't think he was wrong. Now, is he acting maturely? No. Did he let it go after about Sunday or Monday-ish? No.
Right.
He's still continuing to make comments, and he opened the door for Norvell to calmly go to his Monday press conference, and or Tuesday/Wednesday update, and be the bigger man. So I'm not sure the reason why. Both presidents at both schools agreed to not let it be happening. There was a guy that practiced with the team, showed symptoms, tested positive Friday, the stories have been muddled over the week, but did he show symptoms? Did he not? He traveled with the team for sure to Tally, and then FSU's kind of low in scholarship players, didn't want to take the risk. So 9:30 a.m. when the game supposed to start 12 noon, the game is called off. So that bumped your UF Vandy game up on the premier watching time.
That's right.
Got the ABC game for that. So let me say this about whatever perceived rivalry there is between Florida State and Clemson. This won't have zero effect. By that I mean this will be remembered. And Clemson, for some reason, has it out against Georgia Tech. I don't know the teams at Georgia Tech and or Clemson or why that's the case. They're cross-division rivals and play every year. Whenever Clemson plays Georgia Tech, they always try to score as many points as possible. That was obvious this year, right? 73 is kind of embarrassing. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee us what Clemson will do to Florida State now. Next time we play. If it's in December, it's made up, they'll do it then. If it's next year, they'll do it then. You watch.
And that's very. Maybe I'm wrong. You know Dabo more than I. It doesn't seem like him. It doesn't seem like a thing he would do or say.
I think it's.
But you're right. He wouldn't let it go.
He's so suave about how he talks that way, and that you never think it. But it's been an interesting and Florida State fans are just ready to let it go.
Right.
I mean, let's just move on. But Clemson. There is like some small concerns that game not being played will not give them a win. We know that much. I mean, what happens on the field, there's no question. Clemson's going to win by a lot. But it may impact their standings because the ACC has set the guidelines for the teams that play in the ACC title game. And it has to be like an average of all the teams played and the top two teams with the best winning percentage get in. And there's some weird tiebreaker scenarios that Clemson was worried about not having in their favor. But if it comes down to a like head-to-head tiebreaker, they beat the crap out of Miami. So that's not an issue. But if they don't have that extra win in the ACC, it might cause a problem. He also doesn't want to travel back to Tally because apparently it costs him school a lot of money, which probably did. That's kind of eye-opening, by the way, that it costs $300,000 to send a...
Really?
That's what he claimed. $300,000 to travel Clemson.
That's right, because he wanted Florida State to pay for it.
And Norvell, this is a perfect door for him. He says, I'll help pitch in if you guys need to travel back.
Oh, okay.
That's really humble for a guy who knows he's going to get doors blown off.
Yeah. Especially more so now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, this week was odd because just when we thought we knew what COVID was and the effects it has and protocols, you saw the effect in the Florida Vandy game with, not even on the field and till late, and not going back into the locker room at halftime and or after the game, and then a game being canceled the day of. That's just weird. Just a weird stuff going on, man.
Agreed. So, Florida State got an unexpected bye, and trying to make the game up in December. Okay. I don't know. I haven't heard yet if that's actually legitimately a chance to happen. It would mean that Clemson doesn't get a bye week before the title game in the ACC.
Okay.
And then remember, Miami's whole schedule shifted down.
Right.
And this would solve the problem. I think Miami's going to lose a game, so this is going to take care of this issue. I really do think.
Okay, it'll work out.
Yeah. Miami loses one game; they're not even in consideration anymore for the title game.
Yeah.
UNC already has 2 losses, so Clemson's in automatically.
Gotcha. What if they did everything they could to schedule that Florida State game, and then Florida State wins? Oh, that's a huge if. I get that.
It's probably the biggest if in sports history. That would be hilarious. I'd laugh.
Yeah, I would chuckle too.
But they won't.
But I doubt it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, I was surprised that I don't know. I guess when and this is a compliment to Dabo, when you've been successful this long, number one, you can get away with something like this.
Yeah.
Number two, you really run out of things to motivate your team with. I'm sure Saban has this problem all the time. And then number three, you've got to give the media some fodder. I mean, this game was talked way more about by not being played than it would have taken for us to lose 55-10 or whatever.
I also think the part of it, you positioning for the ACC, positioning for the playoffs, and positioning Lawrence for the Heisman, because he didn't play already, and probably wants to get him to play a little bit more to get him out there. I think that's part of the reason why he's so vocal about it.
Sure.
Because he just wants you want to be have some exposure, pun intended, for your team and your players, because a lot of people just aren't playing some, and you kind of forget about them. Like Big Ten teams and Pac-12 teams, they're an afterthought when it comes to accolades and playoffs right now.
Yeah.
So he wants to be in the spotlight, even if he has to create the spotlight.
Exactly. So that was the only thoughts I had, unless you had anything else.
That is it.
Okay.
That is it. It stinks that you don't play a game, but hopefully you get to make it up later.
Yep, that is a good hope. Real quickly, we did have submission this week, so I wanted to give a couple minutes to Tyler. Thank you so much for sending your feedback about how the Florida Gators handled the victory over Vanderbilt. So this was sent in, by the way, through the website, FloridaFocusPodcast.com. So if you want to send in your thoughts anytime, please do so.
I've got 2 main takeaways from the Florida-Vanderbilt game this year. The first of which is our defense still can't decide to be super consistent, because in playing against the now 0-7 Vanderbilt Commodores, Florida allows 406 yards of total offense to Vandy. Now, granted, Vandy's offense hasn't been terrible this year, but still, it's Vanderbilt, and you would think that the worst team by record in the conference, Florida's defense will do a little bit better against, and they did stop them and only hold them to 17 points, but still, it's Vanderbilt. But if you're going to have a team where, it's supposed to be a quasi-trap game, and the only reaction is, okay, we allow 17 points and we allow a bunch of yards, but we don't let them capitalize on most of those, that's not a bad thing. The other of which is Kyle Trask continues to cement himself as a serious Heisman contender, if not straight out-and-out front-runner. He had another excellent game, which some people would say, he didn't do so good, because only at the University of Florida can you go 26 of 35 for 383 yards and 3 touchdowns. And in comparison to the rest of the season, that could be considered a slow performance for you as the quarterback. I think that Trask is definitely now in serious contention to be the front runner. I think that Mac Jones still has a chance up at Alabama. And this race probably does come down to the SEC title game, but I still think that Trask has a far better shot at winning that because in that game, I do not foresee Trask being outshone by Mac Jones in the SEC title game.
All right, cool. Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of good points there. So let's see. Oh, we got one more game that occurred this weekend. Sorry. UCF. Oh, so close. So close. Almost beat Cincinnati.
Man, I thought they had them, especially the way they started off.
Yeah.
I really thought that they jump out to that big lead, and I was like, oh, okay, at home, and they're psyched, but the quarterback, Ritter, was just too much, not only passing but running as well.
Yep. And,
yeah, Cincy comes out with a 3-point victory. And I knew they were good, and I picked them to win. But, man, I did not think it was going to end this way, especially the way it started.
Yeah, UCF came back after leading 14-3. They ended up leading in the third quarter, and they kept it close, and there was just too much Cincy. You're right. After halftime, they really figured out what they wanted to do. They tested the defense against UCF, and they won.
Mm-hmm.
So, exciting game for sure, even down to the very last play.
Yeah. And you got to really start thinking Cincy for maybe one of those New Year's Six bowls and maybe crazy stuff, outside shot playoff. I don't think so, but, I mean, this is a really quality win. Even though UCF has 2 losses prior to this, it's a big name within the conference and within the country.
And I challenge UCF fans to tell me, we want respect. Was this not respect? You had a 5-minute spot on College Game Day. They talked about your 2017 undefeated team, and experts, commentators, game day analysts were picking you to upset the number 17 in the nation, even though you're unranked yourself.
Yeah.
What else would respect look like? So please let me know.
I can't say much right now, but maybe later.
Yeah. Yep.
But
yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I've got more to say, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Real quickly, moving on. Navy, South Florida was postponed. They had COVID issues, as a lot of teams are this year, time of year. Western Kentucky, however, victorious over FIU, 38-21. We both picked that one.
Yeah, I just kind of saw that one coming. I will say, though, that at halftime, FIU had the lead, but then did nothing until the last 18 seconds of the game.
Yep. 35 straight points for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
So close.
Exactly.
So close.
All right. And Miami's season is still on hold, so nothing to report there. So.
Yeah. FAU, did they play UMass? Or am I a week off?
Nope, you're right.
Okay, good. Everything's like blurring together.
I know. Trace us up too. FAU victorious 24-2.
To 2.
Over the UMass Minutemen.
Yeah. The defense, man. This happened earlier before. Taggart's an offensive guy, but the defense is really stepping up for the Owls this year.
Absolutely. You stole my thought there perfectly.
Okay,
I mean, they only give away a touchdown every 6-ish quarters. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, FIU, I guess the only hope is that they get a win at this point. And it's not looking good later and later in the year. So,
especially not playing as many games as they have.
That's been the biggest problem, I think.
Yeah.
They look good in 2 games. One of them is Liberty. Yeah, here they are, winless.
Well, they only played 5 games. Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm on our 10th game." Someone's like, "Well, we played 3. UMass just played their 3rd game." Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Some people have played. You're right, 10, maybe sometimes 11.
Yeah.
And I think Utah just played their first game last weekend. I mean, just a really weird season.
Yeah. No joke. But it continues.
Yep.
So this coming week, right?
We're going to get it in. Yes, week 13. So, the Gators, an old rival. You said you got some motivation on the mind. Tell me what you want out of this game and what you mean by that.
Yeah, so Florida hosts Kentucky, and the motivation here is the last time Kentucky came to Florida, they won. First time in 30-something years that Kentucky beat Florida. So I think there's some motivation there, and especially after the lackluster performance versus Vanderbilt. I think there's definitely some motivation here to beat Kentucky. And I think a lot of what played into people panicking a bit last week was you see us struggle a little bit against Vanderbilt, and then juxtaposed, I hope that I used that correctly,
Nice.
to Alabama, when they played Kentucky, they beat them 63-3. And so you can't help but peek over at that scoreboard and go, oh dear. So there's some motivation. So now we kind of, I don't know if we're going to beat Kentucky 63-3, but you want to kind of keep up, with Alabama a little bit, because that's a good gauge of where you are. Because obviously, beating Georgia was the first check mark. The next check mark is being Alabama. That's coming. We're going to be hearing Alabama for next month. And so you've got to compare yourself to teams that they have played against. So here's Kentucky rolling in an offense that is just one-dimensional. They like to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. They have a pretty good defense, although they gave up 63 to Alabama. I think we have a lot of motivation. It's a noon game, which, again, I think we're going to come out probably slow again. But, I mean, I think it's going to be very much like the Vanderbilt game, honestly. I could see them coming out, giving us a quarter, giving us a half. I don't see them stopping us, though. Kyle Pitts is coming back. We're pretty healthy overall. I think Trask is going to be too much for them. Tony's going to be too much for them. We might get a. I'm not going to say we get a 100-yard rusher, but I think Pierce has a great game against Kentucky. They are. I will say this though, they are real good at. I think they lead the league, or they're real close to leading the league in interceptions. But Trask and the Gators is leading the league in interceptions thrown or not thrown. They haven't thrown many interceptions. Let's just say that. Okay. So, but I just think we're too much for them. So at home, first Kentucky, the noon game kind of concerns me a bit. But I think the Gators, I'm going to go 48-17. Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's going to get some big plays here and there. Terry Wilson is decent. But overall, they like to run. We just stop the run, we'll be fine, which I think we will. So 48-17 Gators.
Yeah, I don't see much here. Kentucky's kind of struggled this season, and when you struggle against Vandy, that's a pretty good sign that things just haven't gone your way. And the interesting stat, though, I didn't know they had so many interceptions. That's intriguing. They also kind of drew a bad schedule for a team that's in the East.
Yes.
I mean, Bama's just anyway. And Florida's done nothing but score 38 points at least every single game this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think Florida shows improvement at home. They bounce back pretty easily. 48-20.
20. Okay, I almost said that score. So we might be onto something.
Hey. I mean, the old adage is like home field advantage gives you 3 or 4 points. I think Florida's case that it probably gives you 7 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah. At least this team this year.
Yeah, I think the home field advantage thing kind of goes out the window this year a little bit.
Probably.
Because every game feels more like that. The Vanderbilt game, Mullen said something about they were pumping in crowd noise. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that. I rewatched the game. Because when I was watching it, the family was over. And you can't really hear too much. You hear the crowd noise. It sounds weird. I heard it on a Monday Night Football game.
Yeah.
Recently, and it was just a weird, constant weird noise going on.
Yeah. UCF has
so
it. When I went to the Tulsa game, they had that too.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know if Florida does that or not. Maybe we do. I don't know yet. But I think, yeah, so the home field advantage might be out the window, or not as much of a factor.
Not as much. You still have to travel. I mean, you mentioned all the things that made Florida sluggish. You don't have to worry about that.
I will give you that. Travel does play into it. So. But we agree. So Florida is going to score 48 points. All right. So we do know that. All right.
Yep. Hold on to your hats.
Yes. So next up, Florida State. Assuming they have a game.
Yep. Play Virginia.
Yes.
So yeah, you're right.
Any word on like COVID? If this game's happening, have they said anything yet?
It's on as of now. We're recording this Wednesday night. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone listening to this.
Yeah,
next couple of days. Honestly, despite the records, I feel like this is a pretty even matchup. The Virginia is the better team here, and I'd say 3 weeks ago I would have said Florida State wins this game. I'm just not so sure anymore, and a lot of changes have happened. Virginia, 3-game win streak.
Yeah.
So they're feeling pretty confident. One of those wins is in North Carolina, and so one of them was also Abilene Christian, so don't get too excited. So that was their Division II game. So, they do have to travel to Tallahassee. It is 8:00 under the lights, but
yeah,
there's a chance Jordan Travis is healthy to play this game, and we all know Brock Purdy, Chubba Purdy, that's his brother.
So many Purdy's out there.
Is out for the year. His off this preseason. Goodness gracious, preseason shoulder surgery / collarbone. It didn't take, and it had some inflammation problems, so they had to go in and redo it, and so he's out the rest of the year.
Right.
You're down to Rodemaker and Travis, and you still have defensive issues. Durden, also one of the better defensive linemen, he's opting out the rest of the season, so that doesn't help our cause. And there's a lot of concerns here. Virginia has enough talent on offense that they can score some points and make it uncomfortable for us. If Florida State plays situationally like they kind of have been doing a decent job of, then they will keep it close. Kicking game we know is bad, so that scares me, and it's a little bit worrisome if you don't get your running backs involved, which didn't happen the last game we played. But I think this is actually still a pretty close game, especially the fact that it's given at home. I think we are 9-point underdogs. I'll take us to cover that spread, but I'll take us to lose by a touchdown.
Okay.
How about 30-23?
23. Okay. Yeah, I think obviously Virginia, they're on a streak. I think they're the better team. I think though that having the bye week, the bonus bye week, and not getting beat physically by Clemson, really helps Florida State. I agree that you're missing a lot of key players, only down to 2 quarterbacks. Having a healthy Travis is going to, I think, be a huge factor. And I think the real big factor is playing at home at night. I'm going Florida State with the upset.
Hey-o.
The last time they played at night, we know what happened. Now, if this is a noon game, forget it. UVA wins. Because it's a night game, because Florida State dodged a massive bullet, a cannonball, last week, I think they're kind of ticked off now. I think Clemson has riled them up a little bit.
Maybe.
Travis is healthy. Florida State wins 24-20.
All right.
The defense causes some turnovers.
Special teams.
What's the guy's name? The receiver number 80. Was it Ontario Wilson?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I think he has a big game because everyone's going to focus on Travis. Travis is going to have some crazy run early in the game, get him ahead. Ontario Wilson, running backs step up. Florida State wins.
That'd be nice. I mean, you get Corbin and Toffoli, the ball maybe out of the backfield. That'd be nice. What concerns me, and I hope you're right, obviously, is it's one of those across the conference divisional games. We don't usually play Virginia a lot, and they've given us trouble. You like to point out they're our first ACC loss ever. But they beat us at home in like 2011. We lost to them, was it last season, on the road. And so, not crazy there, but since we don't see them every year, it's going to be a little tricky. And we're playing Virginia at the wrong time. If we'd planned them during their 4-game losing streak, I think absolutely I would have taken us.
Right.
So, yeah, honestly, either outcome wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. It's a top. I think it's. I mean, was it 9.5 spread as of now?
Yeah, right.
I think it's way too high. Obviously, I think Florida's going to win, but if it's at like 3 or 4, I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. But I think like almost 10 points is too high. I could be way off.
So maybe this is
Florida State has surprises big time this year.
I think we both agree though. 9 points is too many. So go make your bets, people.
Yeah.
FSU to cover.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so good luck to the Noles to get their 3rd win of the year. This weekend we have the war on I-4. Okay, so funny story. I promised you this before we start recording. It's about South Florida. I heard a story. They are so low on personnel right now, Chris. They had to dress out like office personnel, grad assistants in pads and uniforms to practice.
What?
So they would have people to compete against because they have that few people left.
Wow.
So that tells you right there, especially those players who are on defense. Oh boy, this one's gonna get ugly fast.
Yeah.
I feel bad that that's gonna happen this way, but this is South Florida's last game.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they make up the Navy one, which means they're gonna end the season losing 8 in a row.
Goodness.
Yep.
Well, I'm not even going to talk about the game. I'm just going to talk about South Florida's uniforms this week.
Go for it.
I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen? It's the slime green that they have. It is disgusting. It looks like someone blew their nose and looked at the napkin and was like, "Hey, we should put this on a uniform." And so, I mean, just for that alone, I really don't care who wins this game, but just because they picked that, I really want UCF to win. Again, I'm not the target market. They're not going after me. They're going after recruits. I get that.
Sure.
But that is disgusting.
Yeah.
But I will say this, though.
Go ahead.
Speaking on that, Florida's uniforms this past weekend, the all-whites, I was very pleased.
Okay.
I think they look. You could be biased. I know I'm biased, but you can be honest with me. I think they look really nice, and we finally improved to 1-3 wearing all whites. So, good for us.
Okay, that's that I would never have known. How about that's
yeah.
Fun. Yeah, I mean, just to add insult to injury, some numbers here. South Florida's leading rusher is opted out the rest of the season. He's done. But through 8 games in the season, Chris, do you want to guess how many yards rushing he has?
I'm going to say 600.
285.
Oh, goodness. That's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so even your top rusher, wide receiver, quarterback, whatever, still not producing. It's this season is this one to forget for the Bulls, and UCF's going to win easily.
Yeah.
They're going to blow the doors off. I guess the only other reason to really watch, there have been strong rumors Mackenzie Milton plays in this game.
Really?
The place where he got hurt 2 years ago.
Right.
The hype, all of that. I mean, it's not a question of, like, is he actually going to compete and start? No. He's still not physically there. He was literally an inch from losing his entire leg and having it amputated 2 years ago. So to see his comeback is probably what UCF fans are going to watch for.
Right.
So there you go.
I'm going to have to change the tint on my TV while I do it, though.
They try color rush every week. It just becomes white noise.
Yeah. Yeah, so UCF big.
Yep. Let's see. FIU's game is postponed against La Tech. Poor Panthers. They just can't get the games in.
Yep.
Miami's still postponed, so that leaves the only other game. Florida Atlantic travels to Middle Tennessee State. What do you got?
Yeah. FIU is rolling. Middle Tennessee, they started off horrible, got a little bit better as the season's gone, but FAU is just rolling, and I'm going to go with the Owls. They got a 6.5 point favorite. I say they win by. I say they make the 7. Make 7 points.
Gotcha.
By 7. Yeah.
Yeah, the Blue Raiders really haven't shown a decent win this year. And that's what I'm looking at. They only beat FIU by 3. And we start the season by losing 4 in a row, so I'm just going to take Florida Atlantic too.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, week 13 in the books.
Mm-hmm.
We also mentioned previously, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.
Enjoy the holidays, family.
Mm-hmm.
Social distance yourself, or groups of 15 or less. I think that's the rule now. So, but when people are listening to us on the holiday, Chris, and they get ideas and they want to give us some feedback, how can they send it to us?
Hit us up at FloridaFocusPodcast.com and let us know. I mean, you can find old episodes and communicate with us. Let us know what you think about games. If you have input on uniforms, I'd love to hear it. I know Brandon's more the special teams guy. I'm more the uniforms guy. I want to see what your thoughts were on the Gators uniforms, USF's uniforms, or anything really. Hit us up, FloridaFocusPodcast.com.
Absolutely. We love to hear that kind of stuff. And, we try to give content that our fans can listen to, different times of different seasons. And so if you want to go back on our past catalog, episode 12, we actually discuss our top 5 uniforms in each school. So let us know if you agree with that list. Love
I think that was the home uniforms, and I think we're going to do an away uniform. Time.
I think I threw in a neutral one, so forgive me for that.
Yeah,
but, generally the home ones.
Yeah.
Yep, very, very true.
Okay.
Whatever podcast player you use, please give us 5-star rating. We'd appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much. And go to our Twitter page and donate diapers to those in need in Central Florida. That is all I have, Chris. Thank you, as always, for co-hosting with me and for taking the time to let us decompress.
Yeah, you are very welcome. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, man, this is Brandon saying, go Noles.
Chris, go Gators.